Well, as the 21st International AIDS Conference continues on its fourth day in Durban, civil society groups have been getting their message heard. The week-long conference is debating on how countries can best tackle the ongoing HIV scourge. The Treatment Action Campaign has called on Health Minister Motsoaledi to work with the Department of Basic Education to make condoms and sanitary towels freely available to all young girls. Meanwhile, the issue of blessers continues to be discussed, as well as the issue of child marriages, with delegates discussing the strong links between child marriage and HIV infection. So let's get an update now on this from the conference. Our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo is there live. Ayanda, very good afternoon to you. Certainly many people and groups are getting their messages heard during these formal discussions, and this is what it's all about, getting every voice and every message heard.
Absolutely, Natasha. But I'm just, if you can see behind me, there's quite a lot of people. There's a bit of excitement is in the air here. Just a few seconds ago, we just saw a glimpse of Prince Harry, accompanied by Elton John. He is here at the conference, as we have been speaking about. We said that he was expected from the beginning of the conference. So he is here today to be a part of this very, very important conference and a historic moment for South Africa, for the African continent. We're going to shift our focus now just a little to speak about the social impact of HIV and AIDS throughout our discussions and the debates and the panel discussions and sessions that we've been following. We've heard from the scientists, we've heard from the policy makers, we've heard the call from civil society, from various high-risk populations and vulnerable groups, but this conference is about the people living with HIV, and to hear what they have to say about the conference and the direction in which the world is taking. And joining me now just to speak about, she's been following the conference very closely. I have with me Lebogang, a person who is living with HIV. And so let's speak to her and just to find out what her thoughts and views about the discussions that have been taking place here. Lebogang, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. As I said, you've been following the discussions that have been taking place here, a very, very important conference. And, you know, we've been speaking to the scientists, we've been speaking to researchers, but we haven't heard their voice. This conference is about the direction in which the globe is going to take with regards to tackling the scourge of HIV. Firstly, your thoughts on some of the discussions that have come out.
I think I'm very disappointed because we keep on talking about young people participation, especially those living with HIV. But number one, at the opening, we didn't have any kind of representation. And even in the conference itself, I feel we just sort of make up and we sort of like to say that there was a number of young people. There's not real involvement. When you look at the plenary discussions, it's just a drop in the ocean of young people and we're not really being involved. Discussions, I'm actually disappointed that we don't have a lot of discussions around a possible cure. You know, there's nothing at all. No one is saying anything about that. It's just the same topics that we've been discussing at ICASA last year, the last conference. We're still discussing the same issues.
There were developments that we understand in vaccines.
Prevention.
Yes.
Yeah, those are nice. I know I did one around PrEP. We had a discussion around PrEP, which is something nice for prevention for young women. I'm very excited about those discussions, but then again, there's also still the non-involvement of the young woman. I feel we're being involved at the end and not from the beginning. We're being told, here is the PrEP, and are you going to take it, are you not going to take it? But no one consulted us to ask, is this what we want? Because we are taking pills. We're already taking morning after pills. We're already taking contraceptions. And now it's pills. I feel the burden is really on young women, which for me is really a bit unfair. But it's a great progress.
South Africa has been lauded for the progress that it's made in the ARV treatment program. 3.4 million people now in South Africa on ARVs, but they've been saying that there are challenges here and there with access to ARVs. People in rural communities are saying that there's still issues of drug stockouts in local clinics. Your experiences with access to treatment?
I stay in a suburb, but we have stockouts ourselves. It's just not rural areas as such, because you find yourself going to the hospital every other month to get medication, whereas before it was 3 it was once in 3 months where you'd get your medication. There is problem to access, and just accessing the antiretroviral, you have to travel another 5 kilometers to get medication. You can't really get it around where you stay. I think it's those challenges, and we don't have a one-stop service. You get antiretrovirals here, you get contraceptives there, you get this here. It would be nice if we could just get everything in one place and not have to move from one place to another. So there is a challenge, especially when it comes to stockouts.
Okay. What was raised, another concern, which has also been seen now as a barrier for HIV testing and cure, is stigma and discrimination. A lot of people have been talking about it, as we know that South Africa conducted the largest survey index looking at stigma. Is that still a challenge, Lebogang?
I think the challenge is self-stigma.
Yes.
I think once one can accept the status, you really don't care what the next person says. I think we need to start dealing with the self-stigma of a person, because you self-stigmatize yourself before the next person stigmatizes you. Because I'll make a simple example. If you're fat, if someone says something about your weight, you'll have a problem with it. And this is how I look at it. I really don't care what people say. People will always talk, and I always say to people living with HIV, it's about what you say about yourself, not what others say about you, because at the end of the day, it's what you say that matters. Stigma is a problem, and again, it's lack of knowledge around the virus. We tend to think that people know about the virus, but they don't really know about the virus. It's now having to talk about the virus and having more conversations around it.
Lebo, thank you so much for your time. Some very interesting comments there from Lebo, a person herself living with HIV. So it's very interesting just chatting to her and hearing her story. Of course, as she said, it's still a long road ahead. A great deal of progress has been made, of course, and we speak about ARV treatment or access to ARV treatment. South Africa is one of the countries that has certainly excelled, but certainly a long way to go. A lot's coming up, of course. We still have later on, we'll be speaking to grannies. So stay tuned and we find out what these grannies have to say. But for now, it's back to studio.
Ayanda, thank you very much. Our reporter Ayanda Mplongo, who's been covering all the proceedings at the International AIDS Conference.